episode 2.
Episode number 2. Welcome back to the DJ Live podcast. As always, we have myself, DJ Rick Webb, and
Erik Massengale.
what we're talking about today. What are we talking about today?
We said we were going to try and answer the constant question of how do you find DJs and keep them. What is the question?
How do you find good talent and how do you keep them on your staff, I guess, is the question.
Yeah. Where do you find good DJs?
Where do you find DJs in general?
Yeah, well, everyone and their mom, first off, is a DJ. But
everyone.
Where do you find working DJs that want to work for you?
And want to do weddings in our case for the most part. We want to do weddings.
Yeah, we're talking about the event industry for the most part.
So, you've had more success than I have at this because I just started on this multi-op journey a year and a half ago now. I can't remember. 2019. So yeah, a little over a year and a half ago. And I tried hiring my third DJ, which actually I was telling you prior to this that I've had 2 failures. It really wasn't 2 failures. The first guy, as you called him, Taco.
Hey, I liked him.
I liked him too. He didn't really. We didn't fire him or quit or anything. He joined the military, so
right.
That kind of just
you can't.
You shift you basically just left in that case. The second one though, I had to fire, and that was the legal reasons.
Right. Yeah. What happened with that again?
I don't even know if I want to say so much about it. On basically, he got he had an instance with his soon-to-be fiance in which involved legal charges, and he got arrested for it. So
yeah, all right, whatever. Some weird, sketchy shit, and
you
had to get rid of him.
You can't be doing that, especially in our industry. And
that's weird because DJs are so sketchy. Like honestly, DJs, even if they're not sketchy, are sketchy in their own way. Like conniving people, like you know what I mean? Like they really are. Like especially club DJs.
DJs.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I got a lot of buddies. I don't know if any of my club buddies are gonna watch this, but y'all know y'all are sketchy. Period. So that's why I'm comfortable saying that.
You also notice that when you go to a DJ convention and you start hanging out with them, and then they like start kind of like saying some of the stuff that they do, and you're like, wait, you do that too?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh wait, you're a conniving. Oh, we're DJs. That's right.
I always call. I'm like, yeah, you don't want DJs. They're the scum of the earth. as I am a DJ.
As I'm a DJ. Yeah, it's very interesting, but on that note, after those 2 and being the type of company I'm going for, I basically backed off trying to get a third DJ. And I'm just trying to work up the high profile qualities of having 2 guys. And we have that third young kid.
It's just you and
Marcellus.
Yeah,
so we're the main 2. And I think a little bit of that, I went to one of Marcellus's events and I was like, yeah, I need to start molding and getting us to the caliper that I want us at before I worry about a third guy yet.
Yeah, well, that you can't expand too quick. Like if you can expand quickly, then bravo. But
which is something you managed to do very quickly.
We did expand quick, but it wasn't too quick. There's a difference. You know what I mean? Like
there's a fine line between too quick. Too quick will put you out of business.
Well, too quick equals you're gonna fuck everyone's shit up. You can't do that.
Yeah, you're gonna get a lot of bad reviews and
you get trashed online. You'll ruin weddings. First off, people consider weddings the most important day of their life, and you're kind of in charge of it. In charge
most
of the
people
running
only
the show.
get married once, technically,
give or take. But yes,
the number's going up a little bit lately.
Let's just say yes, 1 or 2 or 5, but not many times, and you're in charge of that, and you can't send someone not prepared to handle it. It's a lot easier. Like let's say you're doing just like normal events. I'll say a prom maybe, like minus setup because that's kind of difficult, but like just DJing a prom, playing the music only.
It's pretty simple.
Pressure wise is not shit compared to a wedding. I'm not saying it's less difficult, but the pressure and the importance to nail it.
Yeah, you can screw up and butcher a few songs, and you could play some songs that are out of left field and get away with it.
Yeah, well, it's a bunch of kids. It's not like someone who's gonna, like you played too many songs that I told you to play, so I'm gonna cry about it on your website.
At school dances, the worst thing you got to worry about is playing a vulgar song that pisses off the administration. That's the worst thing you got to worry about. If you play a bunch of like pop and stuff that the kids really don't care for,
right? And then
you can get away with it.
Yeah, and they're mad at you, but person who wrote the check isn't.
There's going to be a brand new set of kids next year.
Yeah,
you might move up one age, but
we've only done like 2 proms, and I didn't do them. I send the guy who's better with the younger music.
Yeah, proms are something that it depends too on your area too. This is a little side topic, but just like if you went back to the area that I DJ'd proms and you tried to do it, they have a higher expectation just because they've had a good DJ before. Mm-hmm. Versus somewhere here, what I found is they have pretty low expectations because they've had pretty crappy DJs.
Perfect.
So
maybe I should get into proms.
That's what I'm trying to change. That's my market.
I'll do it cheaper. I'll do it cheaper. That's my motto.
But back on topic though, you have how many DJs now?
All right, so I would be the 9th DJ of the company if I'm working. So 8 plus me.
And every single one of those was the first one you hired, and they were perfectly good. No bad ones in between.
We haven't had anyone actually make the cut and had to get rid of them.
Yeah, so you have a screening process.
Yeah, we have a huge screening process. First we decide they're a good fit, like personality wise. That's the hardest part. Finding someone who's personality wise a good fit, really wants the job. If you don't want to, if you're not stoked to have the job, you get a different job. I only want people who are just like 10 out of 10 really want to be a DJ, for me too.
They actually value the job as something
right,
they want to do.
Right. It's like beyond something you can make money. It's like you have somewhat of a passion for it. You're excited about it. I want them to be excited.
Yeah.
Anyways, but so once, I've decided that you're a good fit and you're gonna be a good fit if we can do the next stuff, then we'll start you on the training process. I have a training manual I wrote. It's like how my company is expected to do a wedding. It's front to back.
That's the one I've seen, right?
I have it.
You showed it me early. You printed off a copy for me early on.
Yeah. That's it.
You might have changed it a little bit, but
we haven't whatever. Either way, it's like a 4 or 5 page. Like, this is how you do it, just so they can see it in words before they go.
Yeah, and that's actually something I wrote recently.
Mm-hmm. It's good to have.
It's really good.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it doesn't leave it, because I'm not training the DJs anymore. Yes, I trained the first 5 or 6, maybe. Mm-hmm. Only two of my DJs I didn't train. I mean, they came with me a couple times, but they had done events before, and I just got really lucky that they were really awesome. But that is not the typical case, and I actually don't risk that anymore. That was just early on. They still work for me today. They're great, but
the manual is something that's very interesting with the manual too, because even me, when I wrote mine, that kind of was basically just all it is me writing down, this is what I do A to Z from the start of the day to the end of the day. And there was stuff in there where I was like, shit, I've actually forgot to do that a few times now.
Right. All right, so let's say I've got, Henry training the new guy. Well, what if Henry doesn't, at the beginning of the day, let's say I was like, oh, you need to go touch base with all your vendors. What if Henry just doesn't do that ever?
He just walks in, sets up, and then
homeboy
expects to go.
Yeah, new person is going to be like, well, right here, the first thing I'm supposed to do after setting up is go talk to someone. He'll see that, and he'll actually correct Henry is what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
You know, and I talk to, you know, I keep up, you know, I'm like, Henry, what's, you know, and Henry would tell me, you know, maybe, but that's the idea, is like a double check kind of thing.
It's training and a double check in one.
Right. But they do 30 like that. They go to
30 weddings.
Yeah, they go to 30 weddings before I'll cut them loose on their own. And after at the 11th wedding, you know, tax stuff, we pay them $50 for a session, you know, a training session. They don't make what the DJs make,
Obviously.
but we pay them a little bit, kind of thing. So you can pay someone $550 before they can technically be on your payroll, and if you pay them $600, then you have to 1099 that person as a subcontractor, blah blah blah. So at 11 weddings, 11 times 50, 550. The next wedding, they're either on my payroll or they're not. So I've already made that decision at 11 weddings if they're going to be the next DJ. And that's, you know, that's when people get cut or they make it, you know, and we've definitely cut a couple people. So at that point, you know, they've already probably been on the microphone. I have the DJ read the crowd, see how low key the wedding is. You know, it's like, oh, all right, this is so low key. All right, well, we'll let you do some announcements. You know what I mean? Because it's not gonna mess with the vibe. It's gonna be successful still.
That was gonna be my question. In those 11 weddings, those are the most crucial ones for you in your training screening process. What is like in those 11 weddings, what do you want to see them do?
First, they have to try. The most important thing that you can see is if they're gonna try.
The work ethic.
They don't
right?
The work ethic.
Okay.
If they want to do it, anyone can be a DJ. Anyone can do anything if you really want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell if you jump the gun on the personality thing too, which is very important. You know, like if you've got someone who's like silent, like weirdly quiet kind of thing, it's probably not going to work. You know, like, oh, your personality isn't cut out to be the life of the party. At that point, you've probably also stuck them on a microphone and had them do some mixing stuff also.
Okay, so
when you
say like stick them on the microphone, like you're obviously not doing grand introductions,
right?
Obviously, that's
right.
later
unless
down the road.
they're dope. No, as for in grand introductions, or you know whatever the introductions, we've had people do the introductions before that 11 weddings happened. And it was awesome. One of the new guys, his name is, his real name is Graham, but we already had a Graham, so we all call him Bradley.
Okay.
Whatever. He's the English guy.
I now know this.
You've met him.
Yeah,
He's the
I know. I
English
didn't know he was
the one
Bradley,
with
though.
is British or whatever.
Yeah.
But I can't remember at what wedding, but either way, it was before the 11th wedding. I hadn't made the call yet, and he just confident. He was
He's
like,
very,
let me do
very
it.
confident.
He was
person.
like, let
he
me do
talks
it.
to people.
Yeah, he was like,
He's outgoing.
he asked to do it. I can't remember the exact wedding it was, but I clearly was like, it'll be fine. You know, I had a backup mic just in case. You know, I have 2 mics.
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to ask you. In that situation, it's definitely one of those where you judge it low key that the bride and groom will be okay with that.
A worst case scenario, he fucks it up. I already knew if he did, they would be chill. Not that I want to do that. I'm going to step in and save, judge me. I don't give. It is what it is. He did.
I was just more or less thinking from a standpoint of they're expecting this DJ MC host. And then
they didn't give a shit.
The grand entrance that gets flipped. I'm assuming that's
like that.
it's normally you, but like there are brides like that.
You're that's judging totally different.
You're judging this off the get go that
if
the bride and groom are going to be cool with this.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I've already deemed it's a low key wedding, bride and groom. You know, I may have. Well, let's say I went to high school with them. I don't even remember, but you know what I mean. Just the situation changes.
And did you like tell them prior, like when you were lining them up or anything, like, hey,
not.
He's going to do the announcements?
No, we always make them line up the people, even if we're doing that
Oh, so
because that's such an important
so
part.
Bradley went through and lined him up.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
we together
Okay,
go
yeah,
do
yeah.
everything, you know.
Gotcha,
So
gotcha.
he was there for the lineup. He's like organizing them, double checking their names, blah blah blah, and it was just the right situation, you know, whatever. And he asked to do it, so he did it, and he killed it. It was fine, you know. Oh, he may not have killed it, but it was for a first time, 6, 10 weddings in, whatever. It was appropriate.
So that's definitely a good sign for those 11 weddings that they are.
Oh
If
yeah,
they are able to do a
if
full
a
grand introduction.
yeah, if dude is confident enough to stick me on the microphone for introductions, you're gonna work out. Even if you suck, if you blew it, you're still gonna work out because we can fix that. We can't fix the lack of confidence.
Yeah,
Well,
it takes a lot.
you within reason.
When it comes to DJ and MC hosts and in the weddings, jumping on the mic, I'm sure anyone listening can agree to, is the biggest thing in terms of confidence that it takes. Anybody can get behind the decks and just mix some music.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I was DJing
Getting on the mic's
for,
the hard.
you know, like 7 years before I got on a microphone. It was weird. I hated it. I actually made fun of people as a club DJ figures. You know, they were doing events on a microphone, but whatever. So that's
So that's MC skills. What about like DJing? Like what else? You got
Dude.
personality, a little bit of MC skills. What about mixing music?
the mixing music. We have rules. I have broken down DJing a wedding into rules about how you choose a song, kind of thing. And if you follow these rules, pretty much you're good. You know what I mean? I mean, people, if they're expecting DJ craze, you're screwed anyways. You know what I mean? We're not that. You know, we are. I'm not gonna say we're iPods, but if you don't beat match, people aren't gonna fucking cry about it. You know what I mean? That's kind of like the icing on the cake. And we do beat match, you know, but you don't have to. Another thing about DJing at a wedding, you got to know when to beat match and when to volume fade. It is a skill to volume fade at a wedding.
And make it sound good.
And make it sound good. Oh yeah, without it sounding like shit. Yes, of course. Is the correct volume fade and when it's appropriate. You got to know when to put down I'm a DJ, you know, and you got to know when to just all right, just turn off this song, turn on the next. You know, that's hard. That's hard for a lot. That's a hard pill to swallow as someone with a club background, and that's a lot of the reason I don't like finding a DJ that was already a DJ. You know,
I think that's one of the biggest problems I had, at least with the last one, was he was a full-on club DJ. Like that is his full-time job.
and they're over here trying to scratch like a slow song out of whatever, you know, because they're like, oh, it's time for a slow song. Well, yes, it's time for a slow song, but don't fucking scratch it. What the fuck is that? Like, no one wants to hear that.
My issue is more or less on the effort part. So being a club DJ is kind of, it's literally you walk in that night, you have no idea what you're going to do. You just know you're going to come in and play music, and you just start mixing music, right? Weddings require a lot of pre-prep, a lot of stuff you got to get organized. You got to be in communication with the bride and groom.
And 95% is preparation. You know,
And
if you prepare enough, you can't fuck it up.
That was on top of the legal issues. That was my biggest thing that I was trying to get out of this most recent person that had to get rid of. So
yeah. And see, that's something that ignoring those two guys who happened to work out, but like I said, it was new. I probably wouldn't make that same decision. You know, if those two guys listen, you guys are great. It's not what I'm saying, but well, you know, they know my perspective on it, though.
Yeah.
You know, I've had this. You know, my other DJs were not DJs. They were just cool people that I knew and I thought were cool people. You know.
and you definitely hear, have you just other guys out there in the industry, at least that I've heard at like conventions and stuff, a lot of them say that when they're like out and about, right, they go to the restaurant and there's like a really good over the top waiter, they'll give them a card and be like, you ever thought about entertainment?
Right.
Because like they show a lot of effort, personality, and just work hard. They have good personality, and they can morph them into a DJ if that's something they would want to do.
Yeah, I mean that's a good idea. I've never done that, but
Yeah.
that's fine. You know, that would be a good method. You know, usually I find new DJs through my DJs, you know, or just my general like Facebook network. I'll make a post and someone will show interest and I'll vet them for a second. Like, I'll just whatever.
Facebook stalk them real quick, see what they're about.
Yeah. Ask my girlfriend what she thinks. Like an outside perspective on their personality.
That's a little side question on this. Do you run background checks?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I mean, apparently you should have, but no, I don't.
Well, on my side, he would have passed it by then. He got that later on. He passed the background check before that. When you do schools, though, you have to do background checks.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, they do one on the DJ?
No, no, it's something I sign off on that I have ran a background check on all of my employees and they all pass because they're going into a school environment.
Gotcha. Well, that makes sense.
So,
yeah, no,
it's a little
we
side
don't.
thing.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know, whatever. We wouldn't run into anything.
But you do a lot of personality vetting and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. We don't do schools anyways. But like I said, not DJs prior, other than the two. And both of those dudes are, first, they're awesome DJs. They're, personality through the roof. And they're good friends, so, so they've worked out really well, obviously. But, like the other people, never been a DJ in their life, right? Depending on who it was, I gave them mixing lessons for anywhere from an hour to half of a day, which I'm calling 3 hours.
And this is after or before the 11 weddings?
During.
Or during?
Yeah, during whenever I think it's whenever they ask, because
if they show interest and they ask to learn, basically.
Yeah, I mean, and if they don't and they're working out, I'm gonna push them for that because it's time to start learning. But that's honestly I don't know about the least important part, but it's the easiest teachable part. And, a lot of DJs are going to have a problem with me saying that, but it's the truth. Like some things about being a DJ, you just can't teach. The people either got it or they don't. But music selection, I can write down some rules to music selection, give you the top 200 and then like the list of appropriate throwbacks. And if you follow the rules, you'll nail it within reason. You might not be
like you said, you're not going to be Jason Jana. You're not going to be some crazy a turntablist at a wedding or anything like that.
Yeah, you're not.
They're gonna
DJ
get
Craze, DJ Ragoza, whatever.
They're gonna get the job done.
Spinning behind their backs and wiki blah blah blah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and it's funny because that was actually something I wasn't even cool with. At first, I didn't have that opinion, but I went to one time I stepped in on a DJ. I can't remember why I was there. He couldn't figure out some weird something with his mic. It was the wedding was right up the street or something. So I stopped through.
Probably those new mixers.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't even matter. But either way, so I was there. And I happened to know the bartender at the wedding, so I stopped to talk, and I'm listening to the mix behind me, and it was fine. It wasn't spectacular, but he wasn't train wrecking, but I would have done it differently and better. Mm-hmm. As someone with just countless hours of practice under
just
their
way
belt.
more experience,
right? But I see the reviews he gets. I saw the review from that wedding, and the people were just so happy with him, and that's what I care about is the client being happy. Mm-hmm. It's not about me. So for me to say, oh, he sucks at mixing, who cares? Like the thing is, the client thought it was awesome, and that is what matters.
Yeah, and you can give him praise on that, and then if you want to
expand,
you want to expand, you can basically be like, one thing I think you can work on is maybe this little bit of skill right here. Like try and this.
They get better. Period.
Exactly.
It's impossible for them to not get better.
Well, any DJ should be able to relate to that statement in terms of you were once a beginner and you sucked and you didn't know what song to pick and you eventually learned over time and experience, which is something anybody you hire is going to have to go through to get to your level.
Right. And we're not, I mean, and so the argument is like, oh, you're sending out noobs. like novice DJs. And okay, I mean, they're new, but how many weddings do some of these dudes do in a year? Maybe 10. Some, obviously, some are doing a crap load. Some full-time guys, 52 weekends in a year. But let's just say 10, 15. All right, well, this dude just did 3 years worth of weddings at your rate. Not exactly a
1 year.
novice. You know what I mean? And he's doing it 3 back to back every weekend, or 2, 2 or 3 every weekend. So it is drilled in that dude's brain by the time he goes. He's good. Trust me, you'd never know. These dudes are solid by the time that 30th rolls around.
Yeah, just think about
Well,
a wedding season when you go into that low season. Your first wedding back is kind of rough.
The last, like, from 20 to 30, those last 10, they basically do the whole wedding themselves. The main DJ is just there to play coach,
Emergency.
just in case.
Yeah.
But we pretty much, it's like, you got this. Maybe 25 to 30, but they've done at least 5 to 10 weddings completely by themselves at that point, without someone on deck to step in if need be. So that's the training and vet process.
Yeah,
that we
so
do.
just to recap that real quick. First off is personality screening. Just a quick personality screening if they're going to be something you would pursue. Next is the first 11 weddings. And that's kind of like that's the
at 11
huge
weddings, I
screening.
I make the decision if we're gonna hire you or not at
Yeah.
11 weddings.
And for anyone on the legal side, you pay them $50 per wedding. You can pay them up to $550 or before $600.
If you pay someone, and this is where we live in North Carolina, I don't technically know if this is in other states.
I'm pretty sure this is a federal.
It would make sense if it was, but you can pay someone up to $600 without 1099ing them. And if I'm going to 1099 someone, they're on my payroll, because they're an employee at that point.
Correct.
And I'm going to not 1099 them, but I'm going to take the taxes out myself and W-2 them. Anyways, so
then
11 weddings in, yes.
And
make the
11
decision.
weddings in, make the decision, and then 30 weddings before we go full time.
Right, and we start actually booking them by themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, kind of tangenting into that, we need to talk about the different types of DJ employees. You have contractors, and you have full-time, well, not really full-time, but on-staff
You have DJs
employees.
that are W-2'd, and those are employees. Or you have subcontractors, which are 1099'd. They pay their own taxes.
And this is a very broad topic because there is no real true answer to what is better. It really just depends on your situation.
There's no right and wrong for much of anything. I'll say
No,
that.
honestly,
I'm not
yeah.
saying my way is right or wrong, no matter what I say. But this is
Absolutely.
how I do it, and I have a very opinionated person.
Yeah, just
but I'm also
follow 'em on
open-minded. Yeah, I'm super open-minded too. But yeah, there's pros and cons of both directions.
So I started. So I have a lot of experience on the contractor side because one, I worked for a company in Ohio that was all contractors. So I know that experience from an employee standpoint. And also when I first started, the first year of the company was everyone was contractors. We have since switched over to your method of being employees. So I guess it really depends because a lot of it is psychological in terms of money. I know definitely Marcellus, when I was talking to him, it's big for him to switch because he's used to getting paid, say, $600, and now he's getting all his taxes taken out, and he's only getting paid this much. But I gotta
Instead of saying X amount of dollars, let's talk in percentage of the total bill, because some people are charging different rates and it skews the perspective.
yeah.
So just talk about percentage.
See, that's new to me, or in terms of like it for me, obviously, year and something right now, just feeling out what are the rates. What I've landed on now being in, and you might do, I think you do it differently, but basically we have a 60-40, and it depends on if you're using my gear or if you have your own gear. So if you have your own gear, I'm going to give you 60% of whatever that is. So say they have their normal DJ setup, they'll get 60% for that amount that we're charging. And then they also book uplights, and the uplights are all mine. Well, they're only going to get 40% of that.
Yeah.
So that's how I broke it down. When we were doing contractors, it was actually a 70-30 split, was just across the board. They get 70% of it because with contractors, they have to have their own gear.
With subcontractors, the DJ has to have their own gear.
Correct.
Right. Okay. I was like confused as to what you're saying.
With a subcontractor like I was doing prior,
Right.
the DJ had all their own gear, and I basically had limited to what I could tell them to do.
Right.
And pretty much they got 70% of what I booked, and I took the 30% cut for doing the booking process.
Right. So basically, pro and con, or it depends on how you want to look at it. As for a percentage of the total bill, a subcontractor makes a higher percentage than a W-2 employee.
Yes.
Due to the fact the subcontractors have to provide their own stuff. And technically you're not allowed to tell them how to work.
That's just hearsay rules right there.
I mean, that's the law.
Well, that is the law.
But
But,
also,
like, it's
who's going to tell
hearsay.
you otherwise? But technically, whatever.
And that definitely is it's more or less strict based on your state. I know definitely like up in Ohio or New Jersey, from what I've been hearing too, they really don't care how much influence you have, or they can give them direct orders like, here's your shit, do this. And when this is coming from the people that have been audited, they say that. I know, talking from people here, especially like Joe Bunn, when he was audited, it was like a fine line with, you did not tell them what to do. They did their own thing.
Yeah.
So I know definitely, just talking from people,
Well,
North Carolina is pretty big on their.
That would be
rule.
accurate for Joe Bunn too. He doesn't. He basically.
No, I'm not saying anything about, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of states, how strongly they enforce that you can't tell them what to do really depends on the state. There's definitely states that are a lot more lenient on that rule than others.
I mean, okay. Yeah. But so
But anyways,
with,
that's another point too on multi-ops. With a contractor, they have to have their own gear, and you can't tell them what to do
yeah.
legally.
But all right, so quality control. As a multi-op, obviously, quality control is everything. As soon as you start getting that bad word on one of your DJs, that's bad word on your whole company, and that's affecting every DJ you have's job. Bad word of mouth spreads quick. The reason people have jobs, obviously, is for the money. Loyalty, enough money equals loyalty. I don't care who you are. Yes, you can enjoy the job until the day you die. In the end, if you're not making enough money, fuck that job. You know what I mean? It's a hobby, and we're not doing this for a hobby. How do you pay someone? What is enough money to have someone loyal? Because that is an issue with subcontracting. And some people nail this, but this is a huge issue with people who haven't. They get ahead of themselves. I have too many leads. All I got to do is tell Joe Schmo to go DJ that wedding, take a cut, and then I make more money. That's the extent of their thought, and I understand, but there are many issues with that. Let's say, okay, so that works once. Yes, I made $200, $300, whatever the fuck you make. All right, so all right, so I have a crap load of extra leads. So I'm gonna tell Joe Schmo he needs to go DJ these 10 dates this year. Okay, all right, so Joe Schmo's 2 thumbs up. Hell yeah, 10 gigs. What if Joe Schmo finds other gigs that pay him double? He's gonna take them, and then you're on 10 contracts with no DJ, and there's no reason for Joe Schmo to not do that. Really, it's not even that messed up. You were the one taking half of his money, and yeah, I mean, bro code, moral code, fuck that,
That point right there is one of the hardest parts of being an owner of a multi-op, to try and find new DJs. The ones that actually I guess they don't really understand the money or how it works until you explain it to them. But when they find out that you're taking a cut and they don't know why, Because that's one of the big things. They're like, well, you booked me for this wedding.
Yeah, what is the reason?
Why are you taking a cut of my money? You're making 30% of my money. What the hell?
Yeah, and I mean, and it's the thing, if you're only taking 30%, you're a good dude. A lot of people are taking a lot more than that.
Oh,
Honestly.
a lot of people are doing a 40-60 split the other way.
Right, yeah, like the subcontractor providing all of their own gear
Gets
makes 40%.
Yeah.
And, if that works, then that works. And the reason that can work, if the original bill is high enough, 40% could be a lot of money.
It could be $1,000, and that dude could be perfectly fine with
And
it.
if you cannot go out on your own and book 30 events in a year at that 40% rate, like equivalent dollar wise,
It's a
or
good
even
match.
if it's why not then? Because you can't make more on your own anyways.
And the person doesn't have to find him.
Right, and then you don't you also get it handed to you. You don't have to do all that work. It's a lot of work. But but there's the sketchy part. A lot of these DJs, like I said. So let's put myself. I'm back to that guy that just one time made $300 off a DJ and the light bulb went off. And he's
I can do this multi-op.
right, exactly. Multi-op. Okay, well, you can't keep that DJ loyal
Happy.
because let's say, all of a sudden it crosses your mind, oh, well, I can, I'll just charge $100 less or however many, a little less, so I can book everyone. Okay, well, now you can provide the new DJ with 10 gigs a year. A DJ can get 10 gigs in a year. For the give or take your person, he can get 10 gigs a year. Let's say you're taking 40% off the top. Let's say the gig is $1,000. You charge $1,000 just because I suck at math, so I'm going to try and quick this out.
I'm sure everyone else would love that.
Right, $1,000 per gig, 10 gigs. That's a total of $10,000 revenue. You, as the person that handled it, took 4,000 of those dollars. So then the DJ then makes $6,000. That's all he sees. He sees you made 4, I made 6, and I did everything. Let's say Joe Bunn. Let's just use Joe. We're buddies with Joe, and I'm not shitting. Obviously, I'm not shitting on Joe.
All right, let's
because
shit
that
on
would be
Joe. Everyone tell him.
Right,
Everyone go tell him that we're shitting on him so he watches
you
the
shit
episode.
on Joe Bunn, you need to reevaluate your shit.
Yeah,
but
you definitely do,
anyways,
first off.
but hey, and I did. and I reevaluated my shit, right? All right, anyways.
Supposedly.
But so let's say this exact scenario is over in Joe Bunn. Joe Bunn has an entire brand that when you work for Joe Bunn, you are with Joe DJ Bunn DJ
Bun
Company.
Co.
Yes,
Bun
you are Bunn DJ Company. You know how many fucking vendor lists they're on? You know how much fucking promo videos and how much clout they have? You know what I mean? It comes with, it's like, so what is Joe Schmo, the previous DJ owner? It's like, what are you doing for this DJ other than taking his money? Yeah, you gave him 10 gigs that he could have gotten himself. But what are you doing? What are you providing for him? Joe Bunn is providing a monstrous brand and work, and he keeps them busy as well.
That's the biggest thing for the employee, the contractor,
and
is work.
And there's a high enough ticket, a high enough entire bill to whatever percentage he pays his DJs. They're loyal because it's enough money. It all boils down to, is it enough money?
Yeah. Does the amount of work I have to do equal the value in terms of what I'm getting? That's everything in life, pretty much.
Right. Well, I mean, and also back to the personality trait of a DJ. If you're a greedy fucking slime ball, you probably aren't going to work out because of the split. Like you can't have someone greedy.
You can't get past the fact that he's making money off an event I'm doing.
Yeah, and if you're not going to see the value in giving someone a small cut for work, then you're not going to work out anyways. And and that might be correct for you. It might not. But like I said, there's no right or wrong, but that is the case with a multi-op.
Mm-hmm.
Like with us. the DJs don't have to provide anything. You know, I will, if they, the only thing they pretty much have is their own laptop, and that's because they want to use their own laptop. Yeah, I will happily buy you a laptop and you can use it if that's what you want. You know, but most of them assist on their own, but that's another story. But other than that, we all use QSCK 12.2s, period.
Quality control right there.
Quality control. We all use identical facades. We actually have a facade that is much nicer. Excuse me. We have one American DJ facade, and it's the big one, the one you've seen probably.
It's the ADJ event facade.
Right.
It's all white one. It's got the white
Yep,
metal and
that
everything.
one.
I
Now,
got it downstairs.
the reason we don't use that one is because not everyone has one. And it's not like we're trying to degrade, but we use this facade. We don't use that facade.
Yeah, and I think probably one of the best examples you ever told me was, I think he's found it, Freddie, was using uplights underneath his facade, and you told him X-nay the lights underneath the facade because he was looking different than everyone else.
Right. We have
he
a
was looking a
brand-
little bit higher up.
Right. You know, I was like, dude, I realize it looks good, but no one else is doing that, and I don't want them to look worse than you. And that is the problem with that.
Yeah, quality and expectations. You don't want a future couple to go to that wedding where they saw the lights underneath the facade and it looked a little bit better.
Right.
And then their wedding comes up and there's a facade there with no lights under it.
Yep. And, you know, that's a tiny detail.
That's a
but
tiny
But
detail,
it
but-
matters.
but
in,
that
in the
matters.
grand scheme of a multi-op. If you're going by Bun DJ Company, if you're going by Dowk Events, if you're going by Fusion Sound and Lighting, it's a brand.
There's a brand, there's a
They're-
reputation.
They're not expecting, they're not expecting Graham whatever, I won't throw his last name, but they're not expecting Cameron. They're not expecting Freddie. They're expecting Dowk Events.
Exactly. They're expecting that brand experience,
Yeah.
that brand quality, that brand reputation. That's
Right.
That's why they went with that brand to start with.
Right. You know, and yeah, I mean, so quality control is a little easier. And, you know, Joe Bunn, he subcontracts and he nails it. He does a great job. He has an awesome
He's
company.
able to nail his quality control even in that grand scheme of
Right.
things.
Yeah. And, you know, hats off to him. It's just easier for me because I'm newer and for whatever reason to do W-2 employees. And also I am able to charge less, and because there's no investment from my DJs, pay them a bigger percent of that total bill. You know what I mean? And then the money is right. It boils down to the money is right. Let's say
They don't have to invest $10,000 into $10,000 into a rig,
Right.
just to go out and make
a couple $100 bucks.
couple
It doesn't.
$100.
But
They could just jump into it and start making a couple $100.
right. Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's like you filled out a job application and there's work involved, but it's a fun job, And like I said, it's not for everyone. That's why it's so
It's
hard
also-
to hire people.
Yeah, and that also provides peace of mind on the exit too.
Right.
So that if they say it's like a college, someone fresh out of college or whatever, they haven't started a family yet or anything like that. If they join your company, they have the peace of mind of knowing that if they decide to get married, they decide to have kids, and they want to push this off and pursue something else, there's no real pressure to get out of it other than fulfilling the events they have booked.
Right. Well, even that we've
Even that
switched
you've got
up.
rid of. So
Yeah, we've switched that up. I ask them, like, it's kind of, this is like a bro code kind of thing. Well, we're all friends.
Yeah.
The thing is with the
got
multi-op,
to be.
once you get so big, you got to be somewhat friends. And we're all pretty good friends. But I ask them if they do want to leave, just warn us. And then give us, 2 months, 3 months, something like, as long as they can, so we can find someone else, And worst case, I'll take all the weddings. So there's always someone. But, so quality control, everyone uses the same rig. You did the YouTube video on my house. It sucked because we had like a couple weddings that day, so you couldn't see how it was literally unison, like rig 1, rig 2, and it's identical. I actually complain when they put stuff back
in the wrong.
differently.
Yeah, I know. You
Even
told
though
me
it's
that.
in their cubby or whatever you
If the
call it.
speaker is on top of this versus the speaker's on top of
Right,
this,
I hate that because I need a
OCD,
quick reference.
that everything is there.
Well, yeah, it's just that way I can tell. And also through the week, sometimes we'll go through people's bags, just double check they have batteries, just stuff like that, and I need quick access. And I hate research, research to find gear. We run into that issue the most with photo booths because our photo booth employees are less trained than the DJs, because you can train a photo booth employee in 2 days versus what I just explained.
Hmm. And in that video, it really brings up a lot of big differences with your logic of your company versus my logic of my company.
Right. Yeah.
You have this whole brand unison. This is pretty much all we do versus I have a very customizable, I would say. That's like the word I throw around all the time is that we do a lot of customization. There's different DJ booth options you can get. We can do furniture booths. We can do regular booths. If you want to do ceiling washes and string lighting and stuff like that and production stuff to get very custom, that's sort of our branded image is known for creating more of an experience in terms of the lighting and the overall just customizing everything from A to Z versus, and this just comes into play on different multi-ops and stuff like that. You would say yours is probably more streamlined. This is the experience. This is what you get. Simple.
Well, it's the thing is
It's the
given
meat and potatoes.
Yeah. Well,
as
if
you
I
said.
so all 8 of my DJs, I don't have to make sure they drive a minivan. I don't have to
That's
make
also
sure
part of it,
they
yeah.
drive. One of them drives a Jetta and can fit our entire setup plus a second person in the Jetta.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So it opens that way I can look at 90% of the population as a possible candidate to be an employee of my company versus you who that
You gotta
that
have an
percentage,
SUV.
right, there's a lot more criteria they got to meet for them to fit.
Yeah, and it's definitely it's just to go the ways of it. Basically, your guys very simple, very organized. My guys are more. I'm looking for very high caliber in terms of guys. Like if you had a guy on your company that's been there for 5 years now and he's killing it, like he's starting to implement mixing tricks and stuff like that. That's the kind of guy that I'm trying to get on my caliber. So my
They caught me
training,
off guard at that wedding show when was it Marcellus?
yeah,
All right, sorry, that's the dude's name in Pulp Fiction, so it throws me off. I feel like I'm saying it wrong. Anyways, but it caught me off guard when he started scratching and was actually dope. I was like, oh, okay. I was like,
there's
oh.
like a complete with me and him. It's really neat to think about it, and he doesn't mind me saying this, but like my path in DJing was buying stuff that made money.
Uh-huh.
So I bought the best speakers first. I bought those before I had like a decent controller because I knew mixing wasn't the most important thing with weddings
Right.
technically at that time.
You started out as an event guy.
I started out as an event guy.
It makes
He
sense.
started out as I want to be the next Red Bull freestyle.
Right, and it shows.
And that's why he's got some pretty dope cuts and stuff. And,
Yeah.
And when you see him implement those at weddings, it's kind of like,
It's the icing
damn.
on the cake.
Yeah,
It is.
exactly.
It's sick. I mean, it is cool, but to each their own on that opinion, But the scratching, like I said, my story about going talking to the bartender, my dude was DJing, and I won't say it sucked, but for being blunt, it sucked. And then the
From a
bride's
DJ perspective,
from a
it
mix,
wasn't that
from
great.
someone who is sick at mixing, I was like, I would have done that so much better.
Like watching these Facebook Live DJs.
Right. Well, but anyways,
Another story.
But like I said, the bride was like, that was fucking awesome. You know what I mean? And that's what matters. Now, homeboy Marcellus, he's sick. It's scratching and whatnot. And someone, people appreciate that. I'm not saying they're just complete disregard for it. It's just not always. It's not all that matters.
Exactly. Yeah. Now I do have a question on that tangent question on that for you. If you get to the point where you have a DJ that gets to like somewhere like Marcellus is at, or someone to your level where they're clearly better,
Uh-huh.
is that going to impact your company?
Well, the thing is I would say this to any DJ: if they felt like they've outgrown us, quit. Give us 3 months. Be a bro.
Move on.
I've been good to you. Be good to me in reverse, and move on. We're not here to hold people back. If it doesn't work out, then it's a mutual decision. It's not working out for us either if you're too good. You know. Um, but one thing I won't do is be fucking strong armed by a DJ. People subcontracting their
Well, I
DJs.
was more or less thinking about getting strong armed by clients. In terms of you have this one DJ that's really good, and anyone that sees him wants him, and anybody that hears about him wants him versus
Well,
your other
that
guys.
is the case.
I
But the
would
thing is,
assume it would be.
we get obviously we get positive review. But the thing is, it happens even in the. I'll just use my friend that is the one I said wasn't good at mixing that for that instance. He is personally requested a lot. Ooh,
It's just
I
'cause
would have
it's
chosen Freddie.
it's
I would have
experience.
chosen Graham.
It's experience.
But I'm just saying, it's because a client, a future client, was at that
Was
wedding.
that yeah?
That's the only difference, really. And we tell people, if they're gonna be like, "Oh, we're not gonna book you unless we get that DJ." Honestly, we book so many fucking weddings. Fuck you, anyways. Unless they're about to just buy everything we have, and then I'll be like, okay. But the thing about how we work, because we're so streamlined, we you have to within reason. We need our clients to work how we work. We can't mold for them completely, and it's customizable to a certain extent. It's not like, oh, we're playing our own fucking music. We're playing blah, blah, blah. It's not like that. But, it's like, oh, well, we need you to come to the rehearsal dinner and blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, well, that's not going to work for us. You know what I mean? And if you're going to insist on that, then you can go hire Fusion Sound and Lighting, because they're awesome too, but
We don't do that.
we don't. That's not how we work,
Yeah.
And we're at no shortage of gigs, and not everyone can do that. We're lucky in the fact that we can do that.
Yeah, and again, it's just that comes down to a client looking for the right DJ for them. Because at least in our area, there's plenty of options out there for you to look at. You should look at all the different options. We have a lot of DJs watching this right now, or watching this, listening to this. A lot of DJs. So
Hey, DJs.
DJs watching DJs, and DJs watching. Anyways, I kind of wanted to ask the question to end it here of, if you're a DJ and you're considering either starting a multi-op, working for your own, or working for a multi-op, what are kind of some of the pros and cons that a DJ would want to consider for all three of those options? I guess the first one is, if you don't like working for someone, you shouldn't work for someone. That you definitely wouldn't be a good fit to actually work for a multi-op, although it is a good experience to go through too.
At the same time, though, some people just fucking suck to work for. Some people don't. I mean, I'd like to think that people like working for me because I'm a bro and I look out. I don't do things that are not in the employee's best interest. If it's not in their best interest, it's definitely not in my best interest, because
Okay.
they are my bloodline.
All right. Generalize this.
But you get what I'm saying.
I know.
It's
I
like
know.
almost like a.
I know what you're saying, but I'm trying to generalize here in terms of, if you're like a beginner DJ and you're considering what route you want to go, where have you been in this a little bit of ways, and you're a single op and you're considering going multi op, what are some of the things that we should be looking out for? Like, what would I be when I was a single op DJ? Some of the things that struck out to me in terms of wanting to start a multi-op is because I wanted to have a brand. I wanted to own a company. It was just in my nature. I like being an entrepreneur. I like having a company. I like the whole business aspect of it. So I guess one thing, if you're looking to possibly do a multi-op, having a business mindset is huge. Because instead of just the mindset of I have extra leads, I could possibly make more money.
But there are plenty of dudes that own companies that are established that are not multi-ops. A multi-op doesn't mean company. I mean, yes,
No, I'm not.
multi-ops are companies,
Yeah, I'm just.
but it's a different as a multi-op owner. It's a different skill set. And let's say someone is blindly diving
And
in.
what is that? That's what I'm saying.
It's the difference between you you trust yourself for quality control. You're trying to charge.
You hold yourself accountable.
Yeah, you only have to hold yourself accountable. You're basic. You aren't responsible for other people's actions. You're not a manager. Like at the top of a multi-op, you're a manager. It's a totally different it's a combo of skill sets, but it's different.
You gotta be able to work with people. You gotta be able to
Delegate. You got to be able to trust
delegate,
people.
trust, create systems and planning. Well, I guess you can do that in individual too, but
Yeah,
you
but
need to be a little bit better at that for a multi-op.
I'm just saying, being a manager is it's a different skill set than just being a sick DJ. It's literally nothing in the same wheelhouse in any way. Running an operation, putting systems in place that you can figure out work across the board, quality control for 10 other people. There's a lot of moving parts like we just talked about.
And that's what's going to come with basically owning a multi-op versus being yourself or working for a multi-op.
Right.
I would say if you want to be a DJ and you just want to focus on DJing and you don't really care too much about the numbers and the selling and stuff like that, working for a multi-op is the best route you could possibly go.
Yeah, it's easier.
You do,
you get gigs handed to you and you complete the gigs and you collect a paycheck.
at the hardest part to it, they're going to hand you a lead that they've already pre-qualified for the most part and say, hey, tell them about yourself, which you should be able to do off the top of your head.
Yeah, I mean, they may kind of coach you through some kind of, this is how we do these consults.
Yeah, they're not going to lead you in blind, like, here's a lead, take it.
Yeah.
They're going to, I mean, they might, but
Right,
we
could.
don't
I don't
know how
know.
every multi-op works
Right.
out there.
But
If you have one of those multi-ops, have them watch this.
a good route to build your credibility and to build a solo op DJ business for yourself, get on with a local multi-op. Get 10 to 50, however many gigs you can get, how many weddings you can get, proms, whatever, that they'll give you in a year, and do them. It might be a slightly lower rate, but they're doing all of the work. Trust me, it's a lot of time invested and
money, marketing.
If you're making enough money to where it's fun and worth it money-wise, then do it for a while. After a couple years of that, you've done so many events, you'll probably know a thing or two and be able to do it on your own. And you've built some connections at that point as well.
And when you do make that move, make sure you do it on good terms. You don't want to be the backstabbing.
No one wants just if you're going to be a piece of shit, don't be a piece of shit. That's just like, you don't step on toes, don't be a prick, but also if the people are going to prevent you from furthering yourself, then you're not the piece of shit they are.
That's definitely something going into the multi-op, knowing the characteristics of that owner of that multi-op, because I know there's multi-op owners out there that if you leave regardless of how you leave with them, you're a debt to them. How dare you leave my company?
Right.
Even if you are like surpassing and going on to do better things, they don't care.
There's a difference. If I am a DJ that works for multi-op and I know I'm going to leave and I go around to the venue owners and I'm like, hey, I'm leaving this DJ company. You should just hit me up. I'll, do it for X amount of dollars instead, some kind of conniving. That is not okay. That is stepping on toes. But if you just make your exit and then obviously people know about you, like a wedding planner will hit you up down the road because you did a good job at Joe Schmo's wedding, that's just, you know what I mean? You're not a piece of shit for taking that gig, and that multi-op owner does not own you. Know,
if you make your exit and then you make those connections afterwards and reach out to them and be like, hey, I decided to go off on my own. I'm doing my own thing. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, that multi-op owner does not deserve a cut of that future gig. You've made you've put
And
in
you've
more
made
time
him
with
plenty
them,
of
and
money over the
yeah,
years.
he's made his money off of you, and it's fine, and it should be. That's just the way of a DJ. You slowly
Yeah.
build your reputation. But if you're the dude that went behind people's backs and offered, this and that, and tried to swipe their plugs, fuck you. You deserve to get blacklisted, and you probably will get blacklisted because it's a small, tight knit community.
The wedding vendors and just the event industry in general, no matter how big your city is, it's pretty tight knit.
Yeah.
It's pretty tight knit. So, wrapping that portion up, if you are a beginner and you want to get your skill set up, join on a multi-op. And that might lead you down the route of knowing what you want to do personally. If you want to stay on with that multi-op, if you want to move on to do an individual, or you want to move on and start your own multi-op. Just do it on good terms. Don't be a conniving, backstabbing piece of shit.
I'm stabbing. Don't be a backstabber. But yes, starting at a multi-op is a good step to becoming a full-time.
So, we talked about a lot today, though. But yeah, we talked about hiring new DJs. We talked about running a multi-op. We talked about being in a multi-op. We talked about if you're looking to join a multi-op. We talked about not being a backstab.
Yeah, how to
piece of
not
shit.
be a piece of shit as someone who works for a multi-op.
We gave personal advice and talked about life, and yeah. Anyways, I think that's it.
Yes. All right. So moving forward, hit us on Instagram.
Let us know in the comment section down below what you want to hear about, because we're taking comments for the next episodes are based on what you guys want to hear.
Right.
So whatever you guys want to hear, leave it down in the comment section down below. Hit that like button. Subscribe so we can hit 100 subscribers, so that way we can get a custom URL, and then we'll move on from there. But
cool.
We would love for you to subscribe, like, all that. Instagram
is Erik_Massengale for me.
And it's DJ Rick Webb over here. But that's pretty much it.
All right, cool.
Hit him with that outro.
Until next time.